Okay, thanks for joining me, Limarah.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah, and welcome to the podcast on this rainy September day.
Wow, it's only just started here. I was
Yeah.
literally just looking at the sun, yeah, and I can hear the thunder starting. So if it gets loud, I'll close my window.
Oh, really? So it's the thunder's over your way, and
Yeah,
it's heading my way. Oh, blimey, we better be quick then.
yeah. I don't mind. I've been waiting a long time for this rain. Every time it says it rains, it doesn't seem to quite come. So yeah, I think my garden needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So does mine. So does mine. Right. So Limarah Crathorne, pronounced that right, haven't I?
Yeah,
Crathorne, and so you're from convertmore.com.
yep.
And so, in a nutshell, you help people get more leads and sales by
Yeah,
optimizing their websites.
that's exactly it. I basically help people make their websites work harder for them and smarter. There's so many people out there with websites, and they all, they look pretty, the branding colors are great, but they're not actually working hard enough for them to get the actual leads and the sales that they need.
Yes, yes. So, how did you get into this?
I got into this. My background has been marketing through and through, corporate background. I've always been big corporate companies running the marketing teams, and when you're running marketing teams, I did a lot of the online marketing through digital transformation, as well as the offline with the print. And it doesn't matter what channel you look at, there was always a common trend for me, and that was the customer experience. It was always about how we were letting the customer down at some point through their journey, and the end goal of that was less money. And that could be, bugs on the website. It could be someone in the call center. It could be how the staff have, packaged something in a warehouse, or the delivery driver. But a tiny gap in that customer journey has big impacts, and it's something I always concentrated on in my career, is finding the pains and the gaps, and fixing them to basically get the more sales and conversions. So once I'd left my corporate career, I carried on with that focus, and I could look at all the channels, I could look at everything. I just focused on what I enjoyed the most, and that's websites. My husband has a web agency, so we love websites in our house. We're very picky shoppers. We're very picky on which websites we use, and I think that's just my love of it, and trying to make them better. I'm sure everyone has got a painful website that they use. So if anyone does an online food shop, it's a nightmare trying to find anything that you want compared to actually going to the supermarket. And
Yeah,
that's where I come in. I help small businesses sort of look at their customer journey through the website from the outside, and show them where these pain points are, and what elements are actually missing from the website that's going to help sort of subconsciously, psychologically trigger someone to make that conversion or purchase that product.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was watching your YouTube channel. Your YouTube videos are very good. They're
Thanks.
very informative, and I learned a few things myself.
Brilliant.
Watching them. And so, what would you say was like the common error that you see on other people's websites, or the most common error that you see on other people's websites that has to be
Um,
corrected?
Actually, I think a common one for me, which you won't see on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is new, but actually I've got planned to video it today, and it's something really simple that I see over and over again, and it's probably why I don't often do webinars on it or have it on my video, because I often think, oh, it's quite simple, but why don't people have this? And it's the call to action on the website. It's basically, when you're, first of all, anyone who hasn't got a call to action right at the start of their website, that first bit above the fold, or the first bit you see on your mobile, you need a button to tell someone what to do. We have to subconsciously tell people to buy me, to download something, to click to the next page, and you need to tell them with that button. So if you haven't got one, get one. And those of you who have got one, what I see as a common problem all the time is we make the effort to have this catchy headline and telling people to click this button, and it stops there. And what I would say is add more to your button, add more trust. So if you've got first 4 emojis on your button. Amazing how much emojis have taken over our lives. If anyone's like me, I mean, it's so much quicker to chuck an emoji in a text message, in a in a WhatsApp, or sometimes you can get across emotions with emojis over words. So if you've got a button, put the finger point, tell them to click, tell them what to do next. And if you're selling a product, as an example, if their button's a pay button, you're going to click this button to purchase something, say to them, as a subscription, for example, have some small print, some micro text next to it saying cancel anytime, or 30-day money back guarantee. It helps people when they're parting that money feel, oh, okay, if I don't like it, I can get my money back. It helps with the trust. And another great thing to have near that button is social proof. You don't need a huge testimonial babbling along about how brilliant your service is or how great the product is. Just a very small one-line sentence, I increased my conversion rate by 5% from working with Limarah. This product changed my world. A very small testimonial with someone's picture will really help when someone's wobbling and think, oh, I don't know whether I want to press this button. Do I want to part with £100? That's going to make them think, oh, well, look how good it did for that person. And subconsciously, it helps them press the button and go through. And it's kind of those messages around the call to action that I see all the time people missing on the website. And it's those extra bits like credit card symbols next to your button, or tell people, I'm sure you've all seen it, or you subconsciously see it, the padlock symbol next to a buy now button. These messages tell people that it's secure, it's a secure payment. Tell them it's a secure payment. And it doesn't have to be a fancy logo, just copy an emoji and put it on there. But the psychological trigger there of someone thinking it's trustworthy will help them press that button and go through to the next step. And for some people, you might only need to increase that conversion rate by 0.5%, and suddenly you've got a huge amount more revenue coming through.
Yeah, that's the thing. It boils down to revenue, doesn't it? If your website's converting more, then you can have, because your website's not just a white elephant.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of people, it is. A lot of businesses, it is just a white elephant.
Exactly. And I know, I'm guilty of this myself, actually, that, some people have got really good job at driving traffic to the website. It might be that they've got great social presence. It might be they've got a really brilliant article, a blog article that's doing well in Google. I know I've got one myself, not one that I'd planned to get the traffic from on Google, and it does really well. And I failed short to not actually look at that article and make sure it's geared up for the conversion. So, a lot of the times we make this effort to get people to our websites, and then we stop and we don't look at, okay, once they're there, how do we get that product in our basket? How do we get the email address to get a lead? And it's that part of the journey that we forget all the time. Yes,
and that leads me on to my next question, but you might have answered it with your last answer. But what is the easiest thing to fix on a website that someone can just look for? What is the easiest fix that will improve conversion rates?
Yeah, I've got 2 actually, if I can do 2.
Yeah.
One of them is SEO related, and it's the click-through rate from people seeing your webpage in Google and actually clicking that to go through to your website. So that conversion there. And it's something I often, when I'm doing an audit for customers, I'm often saying to them, look, this is low-hanging fruit. If you look at your data and you've got a page that you've got lots of high impressions for in Google, so that means it's showing up when someone types something in Google, you're showing up. If you've got something that's got those high impressions, and you're ranking quite high, sort of in the first 5 pages, but your click-through rate, so people aren't actually clicking that, is low, that's low-hanging fruit for me. And the reason for that is, if you've come up in Google, great, you're doing something good with your SEO there. If it's ranking okay, great, you're doing something good with your SEO there. They're hard things to do. The actual getting the click is down to what you've written. So that title and that description, it's called your meta title and description, or SEO title and description, that you write about the page is the next psychological trigger that's going to make them click. And making sure you've got here a call to action, you're connecting with the person emotionally, you're reviewing the actual data to see, okay, what keyword did they type into Google that shows my page? Make sure that is in that description and title. And by a small tweak here on one title and one description, you can really increase that conversion rate on the traffic coming to your page. And that's, for me, I'd say is a real quick win, and something definitely for people to look at. And my other one, on sort of once people are on the website, if anyone's not geeking out on their Google Analytics, please have a look at the engagements of your pages, and have a look at the customer journeys, and see if you've got any particular pages that people are always leaving. Or if you've got Google Analytics 4, you can see at what point they scroll to, and see if there's a sort of little gem there of, okay, where there's a problem. You know, it might be, I had one recently with a client of mine who, she was always driving people to a portfolio page, and then they left straight away. And, you know, everyone did the same journey, but when they got to the portfolio page, they left. And that's when we looked and said, okay, this is the page to work on, because you're losing people here. There's no call to action, and there's not telling anyone what to do next. So have a look at I'd call them problem pages on your website. There's a great tool called Hotjar if people aren't using it, and you can physically record where people are scrolling and looking at on your website. And I love it. I completely geek out on this, because you'll see the problem straight away. You'll see people as they hover and they get to a bit and they're like, oh, and then they go, and you'll really see where that pain point is, and when you'll get your conversion.
Wow, those are two great tips. So you mentioned Hotjar.
Yes.
Do you have any other bits of software that can help to analyze your SEO and your conversion rates?
Do you know what? Quite honestly, my three main tools I would use for data is the Google tools, Google Analytics to look at the data, Google Search Console to look at your SEO data, and Hotjar gives you the quality version. So your Google tools are giving you the numbers, Hotjar's giving you physically what's going on, and I think by using all three of them, you get such a good insight as to what's happening on your website. And I don't particularly walk out of those three. They're the three tools that I would use to do an analysis. The other tool I'd probably use a lot, any keyword research tool. I mean, I use Ubersuggest. I mean, there's some other great ones out there. And I would use that to do my keyword research, and having a look at the SEO of my website. You know, I have a project board set up on there, and that tells me when my keywords are dropping, or, you know, which pages are ranking well and not ranking well. But yeah, predominantly the Google tools and Hotjar, I think would be my top three. And if anyone's not got Google Analytics installed, I would just get it on there. Even if you don't use it, it will track data in the background. You might not use it today, but you might find in a year's time you want to look back 12 months and do some comparisons. So just get it tracking in the background. It's free, it's easy to install. If it's not, you know, if you've got problems installing it, there's lots of people out there that can help. Great.
Are you a fan of Google Analytics 4 over the previous version?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I hated it. I'm sure anyone that's opened it went, how do you do here? I found it, I'm not going to lie, I found an uphill struggle. I found the whole thing really, really confusing and hard working, because it's new. There's probably not a lot of help out there. But once you get your head around it, the reason I like it much more than the old one is it's a much more modern approach. It looks at customer journeys. So previously, where Google Analytics, the universal looks at, say, bounce rate of a page. So that's someone who's gone onto the page and how quickly they've left. But that misses things. It doesn't take into account other things that could happen in the journey. But the Google Analytics 4 is really measuring things like the page scroll, you know, how far down that page have they gone? You know, did they always quit after the second section, the third section? Are they, you know, it's really looking at the actual engagement through pages, you know, not just one page. You know, it's making a correlation between engagement of the journey through the website. And I think once you can get your head around it, and I'm not going to lie and say it's easy, but what I think once you do, it's brilliant. I really like it.
Yeah, me too. And are there any or particular platforms you prefer? Like, for example, do you prefer WordPress for your websites, or Wix?
I have this conversation a lot with clients actually. I actually love WordPress and Wix, and they're completely different. And it's unusual for someone not, you know, to not have one or the other. But the reason I like both is Wix is far more sophisticated. You can get a lot more out of Wix. But you need someone who knows what they're doing. You need someone techie. You need to have, you know, an IT person, a web developer person. You need someone in your corner helping you with the website. And it goes through lots of updates. When there's an update, you get glitches on the website. So you need someone who knows what they're doing, or you need to know what you're doing to keep up with it. But if you've got that, then I think it's really quite sophisticated. And the reason I like Wix is it's still a sophisticated tool. I think it could be more advanced, but it's easy. You don't need that web developer. A lot of it you can do yourself. A lot of it's sort of drag and drop. And because it's hosted on their servers, so with a WordPress website, you could say download the website and then take it somewhere else. You couldn't do that with Wix. It's hosted with Wix. But if you're never going to move your website, if you've just got a small basic website, it's fine, absolutely fine to have it there. And they do all these updates for you, and they keep the technical stuff in the background going. And with something like Wix, they have a 24/7 support that you can actually speak to someone on the phone, which shocks me. You know, you can do a chat and speak to someone. So I have both websites. It's probably the reason why I'm sort of in the know of both. I have a WordPress one and a Wix one, and I find the Wix one just a lot easier because I can talk to someone and they can help me. And so that's why I'm a big lover of both. And I think it will come down to sort of personal preference of people. If you've got the technical support, you've got a web developer on your team, you know, WordPress is great. But I wouldn't shy away from Wix, some of the easier platforms.
Yeah. And you mentioned in your videos about loading speed of websites.
Yeah.
How major is that when it comes to conversions? And
yeah, it's a killer. It's an absolute killer if anyone's got a slow website. I'm not even sure, you know, I probably don't even need to explain exactly how frustrating it is, because I'd be shocked if there's not anyone listening here who hasn't sat with the circle of death waiting for something to load and going, I'm not waiting for this, and you've gone to the next page. Or, you know, we often something we bought at the weekend, a caravan, and my husband and I sat there next to each other with our laptops, and we've got 10 different tabs open. We're all looking at the same thing, but I've gone through Google and I've gone Control-T to open all these different tabs to look at the same thing on different websites. But the second one website doesn't work, close, I've just gone to the next one, because they all do the same. They all told us the same part of information, and that's how fickle we are. You know, so if there is a blocker there, and page speed being one of them, people will just close. You know, we're all too impatient these days, too busy. We're all looking at websites as we're, you know, walking the dog, as we're, you know, making the kids food, as we're in, you know, we're you know, at the office doing something. Where, you know, so you need everything to be quick. So I would definitely encourage anyone to be monitoring their page speed. And sometimes it's not the website, it could be an individual page. And something you'll probably be familiar with, Mike, is something I see sometimes with my clients is the plow money into Facebook ads. We've got a great page going, we've tested the speed, brilliant. they then send out the ads, and then instantly we get an alert on Google Analytics to say there's a page speed problem. And what I find sometimes is, depending on the server that you're on, it can't cope with that increase of volume coming through from the ads. So at testing point, when you think my ad is great, I've got a great page, I'm plowing all my money into it, let's go. And then if you're not checking your page speed afterwards, you could have a problem, because you're just losing that money, because people click through and go, oh, can't be bothered, move on back to Facebook, looking at cats jumping off out windows. You know, it's yeah, so definitely be looking at your page speed, but at different times in the journey, because it can change.
Yeah, interesting. That can be just one page.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen that. I've seen that several clients, especially when you're driving a lot of traffic there, suddenly it can wobble.
Yeah. And do you have any recommendations on testing page speed? Like, there's two main ones, isn't there? GT Metrics and Google Page Insights.
Yeah, they're just the two I use. I'm probably not technical enough to know if one's better or not. It's that I actually use both, and I kind of cherry pick from both, finding the problems or cutting through the jargon to see what it is. And in between both tools, you can often see what the problem is. And, you know, sometimes it can be as simple, you know, I've often worked with people who have not realized you have to compress images on your website. You know, they're taking a great big, taking a selfie of themselves, they've got it on the page, but the page from the iPhone, the actual file is you know, loads of megs, and if it's not compressed, you know, it takes time to load. I've had it myself on, believe it or not, my own website with a video. I didn't embed it properly. It was when I was new to Wix, and I put it on there, and I could see straight away it was affecting the page speed.
So that's, shows you the importance of checking it regularly, checking page speed very regularly.
And if you in Google Analytics, you can look at page speed based by browser or by device. I have seen before when, you know, I've had clients where it works fine on Safari, but it fails when it gets to Chrome.
Yes.
You know, and I've often spoken to companies, and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to order something and it's not working. They're like, oh, can you just open it up in a different browser? And I think, well, yeah, I can, because I understand that. But not everybody knows to switch browsers to actually try and buy a product. You know, so it's good to make sure you're checking different browsers. Yeah,
I think you've probably lost a person by the time they get to change their browser.
Oh yeah, I mean,
gone, haven't they?
Yeah, just say, you know, the question, you know, what browser are you using? I don't know. I just pressed internet on my phone. It's, you know, people don't know that, you know, and that's why it's good to make sure you're testing different browsers, you know, and looking at your tablet versus, you know, your laptop versus your tablet versus your phone, and making sure it's all the same.
Yeah. And regarding SEO, are the things at in 2022 have the principles of SEO changed since, say, 2012?
The biggest change I'd actually say is some basic principles are still there, like using keywords. I mean, that's not changed. Back in 2012, you know, it called people were just, I can even remember doing it in a corporate company I was in at the time. You know, the web developers coming to me and saying, don't worry, I've put all the words related to this product at the bottom of the page in white text to get all the keywords in there. That's a big no-no now. Google's not daft, it picks up on that stuff, and you need to naturally get the keywords in your content. But I would say what a big change with sort of keywords come in, which I would say is that people aren't thinking about, and which is relatively new, is really looking at the intent of these keywords. So it's not so much looking at the actual product name, it's more of the questions, the more the intent that people are searching. How, I'm trying to think on the top of my head, you know, how is this product going to change my life? How does XYZ fix something, rather than actually searching in the actual word? It's the questions and the intent behind it. And I think with generation, you know, you got Gen Z on the, you know, the new generations coming up. It's not just about the keywords written now is voice search. You know, how different do you speak to Alexa when you ask her questions compared to what you type on your laptop? And it's making sure you've now got the SEO geared up for that voice search as well, because it's not something I live and breathe with Alexa in my house. I talk nonstop to her. She controls our lights. She controls the world. But when it comes to my phone and Google, I'm old school. I'm still typing. But the new generations, I mean, typing, they just don't do it. They're talking straight into their phone. And we've got to make sure websites are up to speed with that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I concur with that.
Yeah.
And
Do you talk into your phone, Mike, or are you still typing?
no, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I still type.
Yeah.
I mean, my name's Mike. I should, use voice search.
Yeah.
And be my name.
Yeah. I just can't find it natural to.
No, me neither.
But yeah, I find it natural asking Alexa.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Psychological.
Yeah, but definitely next time anyone asks their Alexa in the house a question, think about how you've asked it, and then think about next time you type something, and it's two different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that people are going to take more notice of. Voice search, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
And with SEO, backlinks are still important.
Yeah, it's still important. So get a backlink to your website, if anyone does know, it's basically getting another person's website linking to your website, so having their address on theirs. And it's still important, but it has to be, I think you have to be clever with it and make sure it's relevant. Just, I think there's still people out there, you can chuck them a load of money and they'll get you lots of web backlinks to your website, but they might not be relevant. They're just random links. Google is all about the customer experience and the customer journey. So Google's customer is the person that's typing something, and they only want to show the best to their customer. So they're looking at your website and they're looking at the backlinks of who's linking to this website, and is that person a good person? Is that website relevant to this website? And that's where it's building sort of a wider picture of you, and thinking, okay, you're obviously an authoritative in this area because lots of other people are mentioning you on their website, they're connecting to you. But Google's not daft, it will see any links that aren't relevant, and it will choose the more relevant website over someone else in the rankings. So I wouldn't try and cheat the system. I would try and get everything as honest as you can, and get some good links. It's quite easy for people to forget as well. I mean, I meet with clients all the time, and even as simple as our podcast, Mike, that we did today, and I'll be straight away saying to you, can you make sure you link to my website in the podcast notes? Bang, a backlink to me. But some people aren't thinking that way, that it's every connection you make, you try and make that digital connection. So back in the day when we're swapping business cards, you need to be thinking now when we're meeting anyone, is there a way I can swap a digital connection? Is it going to work in my favor? Is it going to work in your favor, and make that connection with people?
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you say? We'll get now towards the more informal questions.
Okay.
I'd be glad to know.
Yeah.
So
be kind.
I'll be kind. So Mac or PC?
Absolutely Mac. Always PC my whole life until I started my business 3 years ago. Absolutely Mac.
Yeah.
It's never crashed.
Yes. And well, following on from that, Android or iPhone?
Not a question, not a contest for me. iPhone.
Okay.
Always iPhone, always iPad, and always Mac. And
the best marketing advice you have heard?
Best marketing advice. Actually, an old boss I used to work with. If your mum doesn't understand it, the customers won't understand it.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
it's basically saying, step back, And if if the average person doesn't understand what this is, it's not right.
Yeah. Well, you did mention in our talk that earlier that people should get their relatives to look at their website.
Yeah, so I
And
always recommend it. If you haven't got the budget, you don't want to pay someone like me, you can get your mum looking at it, get your relatives looking at it, get your neighbour looking at it, someone who is outside of your industry with a cold eye, and watch how they do it. See
yeah,
what they do, and you'll find where they get stuck. What you think works, they'll find the problem for you, and it'll be brilliant.
yeah, yeah. And great. And favorite film?
Easy one for me, Top Gun.
Wow. Yeah, brilliant film.
Yeah, we watched the new one last week, Maverick, and after I said to my husband, you know what, I really don't think I've got a better film than the original Top Gun. I think I could watch it over and over again.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I've watched Maverick twice
Yeah,
now.
I do want to watch it for a second time. I can see why you've watched it twice.
Yeah, yeah. No, brilliant, brilliant. Favorite book?
Ah, really old school, back to my childhood. Faraway Tree with Enid Blyton. I think I can't wait to read it to my daughter when she's a bit older.
What was it called again?
Faraway Tree. It's
Faraway
basically
Tree. Yeah.
a bit like the famous Five books. You had a group of kids, and every time they went to this tree and climbed up the branches, at the top there was a new magical land. It could be an upside down land or a chocolate land or just a different magical land. And as a child, I couldn't think of anything more amazing than every time you climb, and fun things would happen as you climbed the tree, and to get back down you'd go down a big slide. But yeah, very sort of a magical book for a child.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Favorite food?
Cheese. All cheeses, any
All
cheese,
cheeses.
and I have cheese on anything.
Yeah, I must admit, I do like cheese as well, but it doesn't matter what type of cheese it is.
No, bring it
Strong
on.
or
No, my best working in Paris, and they'd bring out a cheese board after dinner, and you'd have 50 different cheeses. I'd be like, just leave it. But yeah, I munch away.
so you'd prefer cheese as a dessert rather than like
No, I have it breakfast, lunch, dinner.
wow.
Have it, any time. I quite often have cheese and biscuits for breakfast, actually.
Wow. That is devotion.
Yeah, not sure it's healthy, but it's definitely devotion.
Favorite music?
Dance. I love a bit of my old school club music, and I love anything that's any new club music. I still like it. I'm a big Peloton fan, and I will always pick all the rides with the dance music on the bike.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. And if people want to get in contact with you, what is the best way for them to contact you and use your services?
Best way, easiest way to find me is probably on LinkedIn. Limarah Crathorne's an easy name to find. I'd be shocked if you could find another one. It's probably the easiest way. You've got the websites convert-more.com. And also my new YouTube channel, if anyone wants to geek out some of my videos.
They're brilliant.
Next week when I've got a few more up there.
Yeah, no, they're really good videos.
Oh, thanks.
Really informative. And what's just remind us, what services do you offer? What is the
services I offer the website audits, basically to help review your website to find where your gaps are and your pain points, and give you the recommendations and how you can get more conversions from your sales pages and how you can get more traffic from Google. And then I offer to work with them on an hourly basis for sort of coaching and training to help take on some of these recommendations.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for being a guest on Let's Talk Digital Marketing.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been great being on here.
Yeah.
I love talking all things digital.
Yeah, and you provided a lot of value for people who are listening.
Great. Yeah.
And hopefully they'll be in touch with you as well for an audit or for some optimization.
I'm looking forward to working together with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have a good afternoon.
I will do. Yes, yeah. Hopefully, you don't get the thunder too much your way.
Yeah, I've not heard it yet. I've not heard it yet. It's on its way, I'm sure.